a story we're watching very closely here. Could the former CIA chief, David Petraeus, face federal charges after allegedly talking a bit too much or leaking documents to someone? His mistress, the author of his biography at the time, is the person who supposedly got her hands on some of these documents. We know this, ironically, because some other officials leaked the story that law enforcement was looking to potentially charge him. So the FBI case against Petraeus has been open for nearly 3 years now, despite his resignation. Now his fate rests with the Attorney General, Eric Holder, or Holder's replacement. So what's going on here, really, with all of this? Judge Michael Mukasey is former Attorney General under President George W. Bush, and he joins me now. Good to have you here this morning, Judge. I mean, given what we're talking about here, General Petraeus denies that he gave her any classified documents.
Right.
She was doing an exhaustive biography of his life. She was, involved in talking to a lot of people that were part of his circle at the time. It's not that unusual when there are people writing biographies who win over the trust of the person that they're working with or the group they're working with, that they start to let them in on some things that they feel would not be a problem to let them in on. Is that what happened here?
Don't know what happened here, but a good indication that that is what happened here is a statement by Senator Feinstein over the weekend that, and she's on the Senate Intelligence Committee, presumably she would know whether anything important was disclosed, and he, as you pointed out, denies disclosing it. But she would know whether anything important was disclosed. She said there's no case here.
Yeah.
So it really is puzzling why this has been holding on, as you pointed out in your lead, for over 2 years. That feeds a narrative that there is somebody trying to pressure General Petraeus, and that's not good for him. Obviously, it's not good for the country because it denies us his talents, and at least out front. Although he, as you say, he has been advising people behind the scenes, and it's not good for the Justice Department.
I mean, on so many levels, it seems disrespectful to him to not allow this process to go forward and allow this, hero general in many people's minds to be able to clear his name. What can his attorneys do to say, look, guys, move this forward. Let's figure out what really happened here, if anything, and let this man move on?
As a practical matter, regrettably, there's nothing they can do. They have to sit and wait until the Justice Department decides. And for somebody at the department to have leaked the fact that there was a recommendation, if it is a fact, that there was a recommendation for prosecution, is really inexcusable.
So if she were to have come into possession of some of these documents in the course of writing this biography, how serious a charge would that be if nothing that was transmitted, and we're going to assume this for a moment because that's what they're claiming, was of any national security import?
Martha, when I was an assistant U.S. attorney, I had a case in which somebody gave a tip, meaning a gratuity, to an employee of the Small Business Administration, a woman who was very sick. He gave her a Christmas gift. Technically, that was a violation. We didn't go ahead with that case, and you know something? I was prouder of that result than I was of a whole lot of convictions that I got, and I think that we may very well see that in this case, too.
In terms of the political reasons, you've been around politics for a long time. I mean, potentially, is this an effort to keep him quiet, to keep him not to be able to speak out about the things that he thinks about what's going on in the world?
Part of the problem with delaying it this long is that it feeds that kind of narrative, which is why it should really have been wound up a long time ago and why it should be wound up immediately now.
All right, we'll see what happens if he gets any movement on this situation. Judge, thank you very much. Good to have you here as always.
Good to be here.